Okay, so this will be a video for Objective 36, which is part of the 35-36 test for Yale. It's an extra credit objective for MIT. So you're in the money textbook. I understand in some of my other videos the drawing function wasn't working. I'm going to try something different here. Hopefully it will work. So if you're not in the money textbook, grab that, pause this and grab that, and we're on page 68, Objective 36. I believe there's 6 problems that we'll be doing here. So let's get it started. Number 158. He earns $3,500 each month. His current budget is shown in the pie chart. He's going to revise his budget for the next 12 months so he can make monthly payments of $245 to buy a used car. So what that means is now he has a new expense, so he's got to change his budget so that he can fit this cost in. It says the money for the car payment will come from the money budgeted for savings. What percent of his budget will go into savings each month while he is paying for the car? So that means whatever money he has been saving, he's going to save less now because he's going to take $245 out of that to put towards the car. So there's a couple different ways you can go about doing this. We see in the savings, oh, hold on. Why did that change? That wasn't good. Let's see here. Okay. Alright, so let me erase that. I don't know what just happened there, but okay, let's try it again. So you can see savings here, 17%. I just drew over it, so let's try that again. So you could find out how much 17% of 3,500 is, then subtract the 245, and then you'd have to re-figure out what percent of whatever the savings is left is. So that's one way of doing it, but here I think is a little quicker way. We first found what percent of his total budget is the car payment. So the car payment is $245, and we put that over 3,500. Okay, we divide, it comes out to be 0.07. So the car payment is 7%. Okay, so the savings was 17%. Now we're taking 7% of that towards a car. So we take the 17% that he had, we minus 7% that he's now going to pay, and now that leaves 10% left for savings. Okay. Let's look at problem 159. Shen recently graduated from college. Next month he has to start repaying the loan he used to finance his education. Decides that he can use up to half the amount of money from the other category of his budget to make payments on the loan. To the nearest whole percent, what is the greatest percent of his budget that can go toward making a student loan payment next month? So he has last month's expenses in the table. Okay, he's going to take money from this other to pay for his loan. Now, what other means as far as budget would, so you got the main costs, you got housing, transportation, credit card, groceries. Other could be anything from like entertainment, buying video games, going to see concerts, going to see movies, anything like that. So he's going to take half of that money, and then the question is, what's the greatest percent of his budget that can go toward making the loan payment? So what I did here is I wrote add all, meaning I'm going to add everything he's paying currently, and that's his total budget. So it all adds up to $1,843. Okay. Then half of the other category he's going to use to pay his student loan. So I wrote 0.5 times 480, or because the other category is 480, you could do 480 divided by 2. That is also 240. So however you want to do that, okay. But the main point is he can use $240 for the car payment. So now we're looking at, the question is, what percent of his budget is going to go to the car payment? So he's going to pay 240, and I guess I was mixing the two problems up. It's not a car payment, it is a student loan payment. Okay, so when I originally did this, it should say loan payment. Okay, so also there, but he's going to use half of his other, which is 240. Okay, it's going to go towards the loan. So then we take 240 divided by the total budget of 1,843. Gives you 0.1302. You move that 2 to the right, you get 13.02%. So it's not enough to get 14%. So the most he can do to the nearest percent is 13. Okay. Turn to the next page. Problem 160. Powell family just bought a house. They had been paying $850 each month for rent. Next month, they will need to start making mortgage payments of $1,144 per month. So they had been paying $850 to rent an apartment. Now they bought a house and they're going to have to pay $1,144 per month. The monthly increase in their housing cost represents 7% of their total monthly budget. To the nearest dollar, how much does the Powell family have in their budget each month? Okay. So this goes back to some work with percents. So you have to follow along here. First, let's figure out how much more they're paying. So let's take it step by step. Okay, so they are now paying $1,144. They were paying $850. So the first big number we need is that this represents a $294 increase. Okay, they tell us in the problem that $294 is 7% of the budget. So this goes back to when we were working with solving proportions and figuring out percent problems. The three parts that we're looking for is the part of the percent problem, the whole, and the percent. Well, the percent has a percent sign on it, so we know it's that. Then the next thing I would always say to look for is look after the word of and see what's there. We don't have a number. That's what we're looking for. So we are looking for the whole. That's our missing part. And then the other number, which is usually connected with the word is our part. Okay, so I filled in this percent proportion. Okay, so we put the 294 for the part. We're looking for the whole. 7 is the percent. We cross multiply and divide, okay, which I did right here. So that's 29,400. We divide by the other number, which is 7, gives us 4,200. The other way of doing this was with the percent equation. When the part equals the percent as a decimal times the whole. But now we're looking for the whole, so we had to divide the other side. So this, I know this is going a little ways back, but you follow this example. And you take, to find a whole, you take the part divided by the percent as a decimal. So we take the 294 divided by 0.07, because we have to change, to use this formula, you have to change that to a decimal. That also gets you the 4,200. Okay. And then you can always check that and make sure it's right. If you take the increase and you're saying their budget was 4,200, that should equal 0.07, which you move it twice. 2 is 7% of the budget. Okay. Number 161. Destiny has been renting a house with 4 other roommates for the past year, so that's key. 4 other roommates. So that's going to mean there's 5 people. The roommates all split the rent and utility bills evenly. Their 1-year rental lease has ended, and one of Destiny's roommates has decided to move out. The table shows Destiny's budget from last month. If Destiny and her remaining 3 roommates agree to sign another rental lease, how much more money per month will Destiny need to pay for her increased share of the rent and utilities? Okay, so one key. They split rent and utility bills evenly. Okay, so now this chart shows her expenses. For this problem, okay, they are not asking about her credit card payment, her cell phone, or other. So we don't need to look at any of this stuff. Okay, they want to know how much her share of the rent and utilities has gone up. Okay, so first thing we did, I added what she had. She was paying $300 for rent and $36 for utilities. That equaled $336. Okay, so that means they had split it evenly, so each of the 5 people were paying that. So 5 people times 336, this is the total of rent and utilities. So if one person was living there, they'd have to pay $1,680. If 2 people were living there, they would split that in half. It would be $840 a person. Okay, it happened to be, it was 5 people living there, and so it was 336. But now one's moving out. So now if they don't get someone new and just 4 people are there, because it's Destiny and 3 roommates, they're going to be splitting that 1,680. So now we take 1,680, instead of divide by 5, we divide by 4. Okay, 420 is the new share. Okay, and the final question was, how much more money per month will Destiny need to pay for her increased share of rent and utilities? Okay, so we take the new share, we subtract the old share, and that gives us $84 increase. Okay, I'm just going to disconnect this right now. Okay, all right. 2 more problems. Okay, that looks good. All right. Lamar has a total monthly budget of $1,100. The pie chart shows how he budgets his earnings. This month he plans to pay off his credit cards in full. So starting next month, Lamar will use the money he had previously budgeted for credit card bill to save for a plane ticket to visit his grandfather. If the plane ticket costs $380, how many months will it take for him to save the ticket? Okay, so there's a lot going on here. Okay, one key is that's the amount of his budget. Okay, he's going to take what he had usually paid for credit card and pay for a ticket. So his credit card is 13%. So what we're going to find out first is how much was he paying for his credit card each month. Okay, so 13%, so we change that percent to a decimal, 0.13, times the $1,100 budget. He was paying $143 per month. Okay, so that's per month. Okay, now the plane ticket costs $380. Okay, so we split that into $143 per month. Okay, so the part about this one is it doesn't come out exactly even. If we divide this, it comes out to be 2.6. Okay, what that means is 2 months is not enough. Okay, that would give you $286. you'll get there before you hit the actual 3 months, but because 2 months isn't enough, he'll need 3 months. Now with the multiple choice here, that should be the choice you would choose. What you'd have to make sure of is if they were to give you a choice of 2 and 3 months, and even though you see 2.6 here, if you had a choice of 2 and 3 months, you'd have to choose the 3. Even if this came out to be like 2.2 and you think rounding to 2 is closer, when it comes to money or amounts of materials or things like that, if it comes out to be over a number, so 2.2, you'd have to round that up because 2 months would not be enough to get there. Okay. All right, and what I believe is the last problem. Yep. It says last week, Mrs. Reiki received a promotion at work. The pay increase from promotion will allow her total monthly budget to increase by 8%. The table shows her budget from last month. Ms. Reiki decides to split the extra money evenly between savings and personal expenses. So not between all of the items, between savings and personal expenses. It says how much money will she have to spend on personal expenses next month. Okay, so what we have to do, okay, is first, her budget is going to increase by 8%. Okay, so what I did is first found her old budget. So I added all of these. Comes out to be 1,762. We're going to have 8% of that as an increase. Okay, so I took the 8%, moved it to 0.08, times it by the old budget. It's going to increase this much. Okay. Oh, it won't let me write over there. So sorry, increase. Okay. The extra 140, so that's the increase. So we have the extra $140.96, and she's going to split that not between all the categories, but just between personal expenses and savings. Okay, so split it means divide it by 2. Okay, so 140.96 divided by 2 is $70.48. So she's going to put $70.48 into personal expenses, $70.48 into savings. Okay, and that's going to be her new amount. So the question was, how much will she have to spend on personal expenses? So her personal expenses from here were $264. The increase we just found is $70.48. Gives her an amount of $334.48 that she can spend. Okay, so those are 6 different problems in this category. There's kind of a lot of different things going on. They're not all the same. You have to kind of follow along. Pause them, do a couple problems like that in the workbook, that type of thing. So speaking of the workbook, we're going to be, you start on this page. You probably already looked at this, practice 35. Okay, and then turn the page a few times, and you get here, which is objective 36 starts right here. Okay, with number 25. And you got a few pages here, which we'll turn through. And the answers are on the end here. Look at the answers here. Remember, again, you don't have to do all these problems. Pick out ones that you think are harder. Do however many. You could do all 12. You may not have to do all 12. Okay. And then after you ask for that test, 35, 36, you will move to 37, 38. Again, make sure you're asking questions on any of this stuff. I can either refer you to the problem that we just went over, which one will help you, or I can actually do the problem like I've done a couple times in the past on pencil and paper. So If you have any questions, let me know.